Hi, El. I'm not a skilled interviewer, so I've absolutely no idea how this is going to go. So,
There we go. Okay with the icon circle. Oh, it's bright, isn't it? I like it. You're like sort of like we've got a halo around us. Thanks for giving up your precious time just to have a wee look at the third in the podcasts from relating to departures from the routine. I am delighted, I think it's the correct word to use, delighted to have Ellie with me to discuss, how one, quite like saying that, how one might wish to depart from the routine and to think in a slightly different way. So I've got just a couple of questions to ask you. First question is, which I've written on the whiteboard there, how do you go about, and this is the key part, generating new ideas?
Okay, so I think I need to make a little disclosure before we start, because even though I've recently found this out, my brain works in a particular way. I have ADHD, which means that actually my brain can't help generating new ideas every single moment of the day. So how do you generate new ideas? Has never been particularly a challenge for me. For me, the point is, how do you make sense of this mass of possibility, all of them exciting, and how do you then pick the ones that you want to pursue when you have limited time, limited resources? And so that's when things get tricky. But I didn't know this about my brain until I was 45. I'm now 47 and a half. So I think the way, however, that my brain gets inspired is by interaction with people. So I get my energy, I get my inspiration, I get ideas from chatting to people, which for me is a very creative, generative activity. And because a lot of ideas between and plots have emerged from us just chatting over coffee. So that's kind of how my brain, that's the ideal setting for me. So I need people, I need like-minded people, because something happens when I talk to people and they say something that resonates, gets my brain making all sorts of connections with other people, with other conversations, with other possibilities. And so I love bringing people together into new conversations, because that will spark all sorts of new ideas. And the beauty is that when you do it that way, you then hopefully also collect people that can get excited about these ideas alongside you, and they can help you make it happen. Because I am aware that I get way more ideas than I can handle and that I can translate into reality. So I need people to generate the ideas, and I need people to follow on them, and I need allies, and I need collaborators, co-conspirators to turn them into plans of action and to do stuff, if that makes sense. So actually the generation of the idea is not a challenge, right, but alone doesn't change anything. It's what you do after.
You have an idea, but in order to implement the idea, you have to work, let's say, within a particular structure, organization, hierarchy, where you're not working with like-minded people.
Absolutely.
How do you manage that?
Manage that, because I work in a university, which is a very bureaucratic, hierarchical institution. This, irrespective of any individual university, all universities are to a certain degree like that. I think, and maybe to counterbalance the slightly idealistic, dreamy side of my personality, I think there is also a pragmatic streak or a strategic streak in me, in the sense that I think there's, beautiful, original, innovative, gorgeous ideas are no good to anyone if they don't lead to things changing in reality. So I'm conscious that at some point you need to get your hand dirty and you need to make things happen. And I am conscious that to make things happen, you need to persuade not your like-minded people because they're already on your side. You need to persuade those who need persuading. And I think that's fair enough, actually. I think that my ideas and those of my like-minded people, even though, of course, between ourselves, we think that we are right and we are righteous and we are fighting the good cause. But there's no real intrinsic reason why anybody should listen to us, really.
Yeah.
And, I'm a democratic person. The fact that I'm a professor doesn't mean that I should be listened as somebody that holds some kind of special message that has to be accepted. I need to make the case as much as anyone else. So I'm conscious of that, but I also know that it has to be a collective effort. And if we get all the like-minded people to work together, we can build and craft that narrative, that evidence, that argument to convince. And also, there is something, and maybe that's slightly less strategic and more strong-minded. It's also you do stuff and you show stuff. You show people what can be done, and the burden is on me and on us to show that what we proposing does work, is a better way of doing things than the status quo. We don't have the right to expect to be just trusted on our word. We need to show that we can change things for the better. So that doesn't worry me. I think it's a fair demand, and it's also a way of testing those ideas. But also, if we can show what's possible, it's a way of winning the hearts and the minds of the people who are yet to be convinced.
I'll ask you one final question.
Okay.
And just pause on it for a wee minute. Just think carefully how you want to answer this question. What is the best bit of advice you've ever been given?
So it's not so much in Italian, I know. So it's not exactly a bit of advice, it's a truth that my therapist kept repeating me as I was trying to work my way through a difficult time of my life. And actually, when I was trying to, the difficult time in my life was sort of accepting, I have a disability that I have, that my brain will not be amenable to me changing it. And so I have to accept what it is. And I will tell you in Italian, because you've asked me to. La vergogna ha potere su di te soltanto finché è all'oscuro. Se la porti alla luce, non ha più potere su di te. And now you'll die for me to give you the translation, won't you?
No.
Okay.
You're just assuming that I don't know Italian, how to speak Italian. I might be fluent in Italian.
I think I would have found that by now if you were. Yeah?
I think so.
I think so.
Okay.
But if anybody who watches this wants to know, drop me an email.
Yeah, send an email to Ellie. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
That's been fabulous. And thank you guys for having a wee look at this little podcast. And thanks for giving up your precious time. And there'll be more coming soon. Thank you.
Was that good?
That was brilliant.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So what is it in English?
Shame has a hold on you until you keep it in the dark, hidden away. Once you take it into the light, it has no hold on you anymore. That's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I knew you would ask me though.
Oh,
you are so cheeky. So now the poor viewers will know.
Yeah, I'm going to put all of that back. This bit that we're doing right now, all of that's going in as well.
Yeah, but feel free.
Brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was wonderful. That was really